Hello, hey, it's Brendan here from WP Speed Fix, and this video I'm going to walk you through our free Core Web Vitals test report or speed report, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it will give you the Core Web Vitals data overall for your website for the previous month. Now, to generate this report, you don't need to opt in. You just go to our website. So if you go to WP Speed Fix, actually, if you go to wpspeedfix.com/report, it will redirect to this page. And if you're on our website, it's under the main menu, under more free stuff, free Core Web Vitals report. So this page will load up. Now just type in your URL. When you type it in, you need to use the correct or absolute URL, HTTP or HTTPS. You should be running HTTPS, and then www or no www. So I'll just do ours, wpspeedfix.com. The report won't work unless you use the correct URL. And you need to have enough traffic to generate this report. So enough traffic is somewhere between 100 to 200 visits a day. Because Core Web Vitals pulls data from real visitors on the website, you need to be in that range to have enough Chrome-based browsers or visitors with a Chrome-based browser hitting the website. So it's not an absolute number, but somewhere between 100 to 200 visits. You can also run this report for competitors as well. This is publicly available data. It's using Google's BigQuery data. But anyway, I'll hit generate the report. It will take a second or two to redirect you across to Google Data Studio or Looker Studio, whatever they're calling it this week. And then it will take 20, 30 seconds for it to load up here. So this is the data for January. This report will auto update on the second Tuesday of each new month with the previous month's data. So on the front of the report, there is the standard or the three Core Web Vitals metrics here: LCP, FID, and CLS. You'll also see there's tabs on the left where there are more metrics, and you can see previous months. So let's just talk about these very briefly. I'll try and keep this video short, and we'll do a second video to dig into this in more detail. So LCP, we want to see this at least 75% green to get a passing grade across the site. Now remember, this test is an average, or this data is an average across the entire site. It's not page level, it's site level. So although you might have 75% of the pages green, if there's a lot of red in there, you might still have pages that are failing. They'll show up in Google Search Console. Maybe they'll show up in Google PageSpeed Insights as a problem. But the minimum bar is 75% plus green. But you probably need to be in the real world if you have more red in there, a large proportion of red, you're probably going to have to be higher than that to get a passing grade here. But you'll see on our website, 93% of users on desktop got a good LCP time and 89% on mobile. That's pretty good. You're probably not going to get much better than that. We're using WordPress. If you're using a static site generator or much more simple design than ours, then you could probably get higher, but that's a pretty good result. And this is kind of the top tier of what we'd see for WordPress. That means 93% of our users got a good speed metric, good result, and good is under 2.5 seconds LCP time. So LCP is when the biggest piece of content on the page loads, and it's going to vary from page to page. First input delay, totally fine. So that's how responsive the page is. Most sites won't have an issue with this. If you do have an issue with this, it may be pop-ups that are causing a problem. If it's on one type of device, particularly if it's on mobile, you might have an issue with your menu system. So just test that and see on mobile, if you press the menu icon, how long does it take to react? Basically, this is a measure of reactivity of the website or interactivity. So how quickly the website responds to users interacting with it. Again, different websites, users interact different ways. So a website that's more complex or has a different style of visitor is going to be different to our website. CLS, we have a little bit of layout shift here. Not ideal. The theme we're using and the design we're using, we have a pretty background. If I just go back to the website, I won't hit the back button. I'll just open it up in another tab. Whoops, if I can spell properly. You'll see our background has like a pretty color there, and some of that and some of the fonts sometimes cause some CLS, but this is okay. So this is in the passing zone. Also, a large proportion of our users are on desktops. I'm not super worried about mobile. You can see the breakdown of devices here under device distribution. You can see mobile versus desktop users to give you an idea of what percentage or which metric should be the one you're focusing on. So only 20% of our users are on mobile, so that's not too much of an issue. So we're looking good here in terms of the metrics. The other metrics that we always look at here are time to first byte. So the time to first byte is how quickly the server starts sending data when you request it. And if this is poor, if this is slow, if you have a large amount of red here, the other metrics are going to be slow as well. So we're looking pretty good here. We actually had a problem at the end of last year. You can see there, October, November, we had an issue with the site configuration, one of the plugins, so the time to first byte actually got quite a bit worse. You'll see there, in October in particular, 15% of people got a bad time to first byte, which is time to first byte over 1.8 seconds. If you hover there, it'll give you the numbers. So that means that the server didn't respond to their request for at least 1.8 seconds, which means they're going to be staring at a blank screen. So those users would have got a less than optimal experience. So that's not good. And I'm sure if we click over to LCP, the metrics there will probably reflect that in October. The report can be a bit slow because it has to crunch a lot of data. So you'll see there, October, November, the LCP got worse as a result. So if you have bad time to first byte, the other metrics will be poor as well, usually. There's a lot of different reasons why you might have a bad time to first byte. We'll talk about that in another video. There are some resources on our website that talk about fixing each one of these metrics and what the root cause behind problems with particular metrics could be. The other one we look at is FCP, so first contentful paint. Similar to the largest contentful paint, first contentful paint is when the first piece of content loads on the page, which is usually the logo file. And we have, again, if the time to first byte's poor, this is going to be poor. And we do have some ways to speed it up here. You see so GeneratePress has gone through several versions. It's actually faster now than it used to be. Our FCP time is about 10% better than it used to be. But that's an overview of this report. Generate as many as you want. We'll talk about some of the specifics and some Q&A in a separate video, but I just wanted to get this video done quickly just to explain some of these metrics here. On the time to first byte metric, if there are issues in here, we often see sites where there might be only 20% green. That's when we start, particularly with those sort of sites, we start to see SEO issues because Google and other crawlers come along and they're getting huge delays, taking seconds to get a response from the server, and they often time out. You have the infamous SEO crawl budget. It can affect crawl budget in weird ways if Google is spending a lot of time just sitting there waiting for your site to do something. If there are time to first byte issues, sometimes there are load issues as well, or you'll have 502 and 504 issues because the time to first byte might be a symptom of poorly configured hosting or under-spec hosting. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. There's plenty of resources over at our site, wpspeedfix.com. If you're interested in getting help with site speed or technical SEO, we have a few different services that might be useful. We have an SEO audit service or technical and on-page SEO audit service. We also have a site speed audit consultant implementation service. Those are our two most popular services. We also have WordPress maintenance services and hosting. If you're interested, go to our website. There is a box on the homepage where you can request a free site audit. One of the team will look at your site in detail and get back to you with some recommendations. But leave you with that. Give it a go, wpspeedfix.com/report.